So you do want to know how it's made then, mate? Oh, you're just quizzically curious. Either way, let's get cracking. I'm not modelling anything real here. This isn't, there's no end goal. It's not a real structure or a real item or a product. It's just a process that we're going to go through to show you a new, it's not even new, it's just a unique, different way of modelling something which is quite robust and quite creative. It's just something to have in the bank that you think, oh, it's pretty good, I like that, It's something I can use maybe later on. I might never use it, but it looks probably cool. It actually does once you get going with it, and you'll see why in a second. If you're doing to follow me along in projects, I'm just using the default project, nothing special, no workspace setup. For appearance libraries, I'm using the Autodesk Appearance Library and the Autodesk Material Library, that's it. In tools, application options, you know, I mean, if you want to go all the way through to the end, you'll need to have the content center working. So this folder here, this path, mine's a bit different. I've redirected it off to D. Yours will be C, program data. But you need to go to this folder here and make sure it's got a bunch of IDCL files in it. If it doesn't, you have to reinstall the Content Center off your Inventor Media. And then let's get cracking. So we're going to go to New, Standard IPT. So that's going to create as part file, mate. Blank canvas, part 160. I've not done this 160 times. I don't know where it's got that from. But it gives us a blank canvas to get cracking. So we're going to go, this top button here, right, Start 2D Sketch, and it's going to throw some work planes at us. And then I'm going to pick the XY plane. You can pick another one if you want to be rebellious and edgy. But I'm going to go for the XY plane because I'm just vanilla like that. Pick the XY plane. And we're going to drop a polygon down. If your button here, right, the fourth one in on the Create panel, if that says rectangle, you want to drop down the arrow underneath it and go for polygon. And then I'm going to go for a 6-sided polygon, mate. That's a hexagon. I was there that day in maths in school. If you want to go for more sides, you can do, but you will regret your life choices later on. Trust me on that. You'll see why in a bit. So I'm just going to stick with 6. And then for the center of the polygon, we're going to pick this dot in the middle. All right, left click that, pull away. And as she says, size doesn't matter. Just drop it anywhere down here. Click, and then done. Right. And the next thing I'm going to do, which it just drives me absolutely nuts. What I want to be able to do is sort of grab the corners of the hexagon and pull it around, and these stupid, awful yellow dots stop me doing it. So press F9 on the keyboard. Right, I'll get rid of those yellow dots, and then you can pull your hexagon around, and it just verifies that it's free to rotate and it's free to change in size. So we need to sort that out. So we're going to go into the constraint panel here, and then we're going to select the vertical constraint, and then pick any corner of the hexagon, one left click, and then left click the middle dot, and then that'll line up that corner vertically with the middle. Right click and then OK, and this is now fixed. It can't spin anymore, but it's free to change in size. Right, in terms of the size, it's not a thing. It's not a real product, so there is no size. So I'm just going to make this up as I go along. So I'm going to select dimension, and I'm going to pick 2 opposing corners of the hexagon, drop that down, and then I'm going to make this, just do 4,000, right, make it 4 meters. Double click there, the middle wheel, and that does a zoom extents. It should turn blue, or whatever your color scheme is, it'll change color to show you that it's fully constrained. You can hold the left mouse button down, and then it'll sort of, it'll stay put. It ain't going to move because it's fully constrained. Hit finish sketch, and Inventor is going to do that really annoying thing that it does, is it zooms into nothing. I wish it wouldn't do that. Still many things with this product that drive me bat crap crazy. Double click the middle wheel to zoom back out, and we can now do our next sketch. So we're going to go to Start 2D Sketch again, and then it's going to throw us the work planes. What we're going to do here is we're going to hold the left mouse button down again on the XY plane, but this time hold it down and then drag off like this, right? And that's going to float us a sketch off of the XY plane. So we're going to be sketching above the XY plane. It's going to make us a plane this distance off of the XY plane, and I want it to be, in terms of a distance, I want it to be half of that. Mostly what you would do here is you would just click this and it'll put it into there, and then you can go divided by 2. But for some reason, why me? Why do I keep hitting these issues? It doesn't work. You click that, it doesn't link it into the text box. It's like, why? So what you've got to do is delete that out, right? And then you click that, and then go divided by 2. You've got, it's like the context's all over the place. So click in there until, there you go, you get the hand over the dimension. Click that, and then what you've got to do is click after it, and then press the / divided by 2. What a carry on. I know. Hit the tick button and there you go. Right. So that gives us a sketch. This is now floating 2 meters above where the hexagon is located. And we're going to draw ourselves another hexagon, mate. Right. So we're going to go polygon, select the middle again, same process, just float it off. And then we're going to go for a horizontal constraint. You can click done if you want. It wouldn't have mattered. Horizontal constraint. Pick any one of the corners and then pick the middle. Right. There we go. Right click and OK. And then for the size, same again, mate. We're just going to do a dimension from the corner to corner, drag that up, and then click that there, and it should link the two hexagons together. So if the bottom hexagon changes size, the top one should always be the same size. The parameters are linked together. Whole point of parametric modeling, mate. That's what it's all about. It saves you work later on if you want to change one thing and it affects something else. It's how you build and you design intent, as the Americans would say. And then click Finish Sketch. And then there we go. Right, we're good to now crack on. So I'm going to be using a 3D mouse here. If you see it sort of orbit and turn buttery smooth like this, I'm using a 3D mouse. But if you don't have one, you can hold down F4 and the left mouse button to spin, or you can hold down the left mouse button on a cube. That'll do that. Either way, you get the same desired end result. But I'm using a 3D mouse. Again, I've done a video on that as well. I'll link it up in the top. How do you orbit so smoothly? Is that video. Anyway, next we're going to do a bit of prep work. So this plane here, you should have one plane up here called work plane 1. Just do 2 slow left clicks and it should jump into a rename the plane thing. And I'm going to call this top face and then press return. And then what I'm going to do is something a bit unusual, but you'll have to bear with me, right? This is just to follow me along and hopefully it'll make sense as I go through. We're going to click plane, right, the top button, right? None of these shenanigans, right? No, we're going to go hardcore and click the top button. And then we're going to select any 3 corners on the bottom hexagon. So click, click, and then click, right? There you go. That gives us a bottom plane and we're going to call that the bottom face, right? So same again, rename that and then call it bottom face. So many jokes, so little time. And then we're going to turn those both off. So using the control key, right? Click that, hold down control, click that one, right click on them, and then just uncheck visibility and it'll turn those 2 off. Gets them out of the way because they're a bit intense and in your face. We're going to invoke on the drop down shenanigans area, we're going to invoke 3 points work plane. And what I'm going to do is create around about a dozen work planes around all corners of the hexagon, intersecting other corners of the hexagon. Follow me along. We're going to go click on the top corner of a corner on the top hexagon, and then 2 opposing corners directly below it. So we're going to go click and then click. That intersects us the work plane. Right, if we just look at it there, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go around the bottom hexagon and do the same thing with the top. So we did that point, that one, and that one. Now we're going to go that one, and that one. Then we're going to go that one, and then that one, all the way around. I know, but the end result is incredible. Once you get into the end, it's worth it. And there's not really a better way. There might be a better way of doing it, but this is a really robust way of doing it. So we're going to press spacebar, right? A good idea is to hover your left hand over the spacebar. Just press spacebar to re-invoke the last command, and then go bottom corner, 2 on the top. Top corner, oh, didn't press spacebar. Top corner, 2 on the bottom. Right, spacebar, bottom corner, 2 on the top. This is really boring, but you'll get there in the end. There will come a point when you start to struggle to actually pick the corner, so you'll have to use rotate. Remember the corner you stopped at, so I'm going for this one here. Right, spacebar, that one, and then this one, and then this one. You need absolute utmost concentration here, because I swear on baby Jesus, if you forget where you're at, it is really difficult to see where the work planes are and where they're not, because they start to overlap so much that oh right, I cannot see the corners. Where am I going? Right, it's that one and that one, that one. Yeah, they start to overlap each other so much that it's difficult to see where one work plane starts and when another one ends. But I think we're nearly there. I think we might have one more to do. That one, and then that one. And I think that might be it. There is one there, that one there. Okay, so there's all our work planes sort of evenly spaced around, and we've got our top and bottom face as well, which is that one and that one. So what's the point in doing all this, right? If you thought that was the hard bit, no, it's not. Right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to invoke Sculpt, all right? And then we're going to go around and select every single work plane, click one, and it's going to give us this little sphere with 2 arrows pointing either side. And you want to click the arrow pointing inside the cluster mess of work planes. So you want to pick that one there, all right? Which can be difficult to pick. You need to make sure that when you click the green arrow, it doesn't give you much visual feedback. Believe it or not, the arrow actually does change color very, very, very subtly, and it's easy to miss. So you just need to make sure you don't accidentally click another work plane when you go for the green arrow. So click the work plane and then click the green arrow, and that should change to look like that. And you need to go around every single one of them and pick. Oh no, I'm sorry. It really is worth it though. It really is worth it. So we're going to click that one there, and then that one there, and then we're going to go for that one there, and then inside. What a great way to spend your time. It's like, is this really happening? Yes, this is really happening. And if you think to yourself, how the hell did you, Neil, did you come up with whatever it is you're doing right now? I'm following you, but I've no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea how this came about. What possibly happened in your mind for this to have been something that you came up with? Well, the story is, about 10 years ago, possibly not that long ago, maybe 9 or I don't know, it was a long time ago, there was an old Inventor World Cup challenge on the Inventor forums, and one of the challenges was a very similar shape, and this was the technique that I came up with to sort of solve the puzzle. And since then, it's just been one of those things that I've remembered since. And it's a pretty interesting way of doing so. I think I've got everything there, right? Every arrow should be pointing inside, right? And you should now get this sort of spike. Well, that's because we haven't picked the top and the bottom faces because they're turned off. So you want to select in your browser the top face and then go down, all right? And that should cap off the top. There we are. And then you want to pick the bottom face and you want to click the arrow going up, right? And then we've finally done it. Click OK. And then there you go. Look at that, mate. Is that not worth it? It's like it's just a bunch of triangles. I know, but it really is cool. Right. Then the next thing we're going to do is we need to put a peak, like a point on top. And again, this is a bit funky, but it works, right? So you're going to select plane. Actually, let's go for 3 points again. Keep it consistent. And the 3 points that we're going to pick on the top of the shape, you want to scroll along, just move along until you get the midpoint there, right? You want to click that point, and then on the opposing side, you want to pick that point, and then that corner point there, right? And then you want to press space bar, do it again, on the exact opposite side, almost like it's a mirror. So that one, and then that point there. And then that gives us this. Where the hell are you going with this, Neil? Bear with me, man, bear with me. Right, and then we're going to go for an axis. Then we're going to select the plane that we've just made, and then expand your origin folder and then select the z-axis, and that intersects an axis between the z line and that plane. And we're going to do the same thing on this one, axis between that and z. And these two axes are like the Ghostbusters crossing the streams, so they're going infinitely in length from up to down, but they cross over and touch here, and that's where we want to define a point. So you want to select point between here and here, and it gives us this work point. This work point is what we're after. So these two planes and these two axes were for the purposes of defining that point. So now that we've got that point, we can like just expand the browser and hold down Control and just turn off all of that. We don't need them. Right click and visibility off. Where's the axes? Oh, it's them ones there. Right click and turn the visibility of that off. There we go. So we've got a point, and then we're going to do some more planes. I know. Honestly, it's worth it. Right, select 3 points again. I'm going to select 2 corners of the hexagon, 2 adjoining corners, and then the dot. Right, spacebar again. Click and the dot. Space. This is where like having a 3D mouse really helps. It speeds things up massively. space, click, click, and click. In fact, I think there's even, yeah, there's a space bar mapped on the Space Mouse Enterprise. So if you're an absolute baller and you've got a Space Mouse Enterprise, you don't even need to take your hand off the 3D mouse. You can just use the space bar shortcut key on the 3D mouse if you want to do. Click Sculpt again, right? And then we're just going to select, you can do it, you can click them in here. You can either click the work planes, we need to click all the work planes that we've just made. You can either click them in the graphics window or click them in the browser. So click, click, 20, 21, 22. And then you should see this green preview appear. If you don't see the green preview appear, you've done screwed up somewhere along the lines, mate, and I can't help you because I haven't seen what you did. Click OK, and then there we are, man. There we are. We've done it. We've done it, man. But the good thing about this, right, because somebody's bound to be sitting there going, I know where you're going with this, Neil. Oh, now where you're going to put frames onto these endpoints, which you could have done with a 3D sketch. Well, yes, we could have done this with the 3D sketch, and that would work. If you're into sneezing and watching all your work disintegrate like Germany's World Cup hopes, you by all means do a 3D sketch. But this is much more robust, because right now we can just go into one of these dimensions, change this to, I don't know, 6,000. Press the update button here, and then boom, look at that. Everything updates because it's all parametrically linked together. It is delightful. It is so robust. It's just unbelievable, Jeff. It's brilliant, right? We're going to save what we've done just because it's Autodesk, you know. Best to save it. Drop this into the working folder, and I'm going to call this skeletal model, something like that, right? And then we're going to go into an assembly, all right? Standard.iam. Click place. Browse to your skeleton model, wherever you saved it. Double click it in, right click, place grounded at origin. If you don't have place grounded at origin because you've got an old version of Inventor, it doesn't matter, drop it in wherever you want to, it doesn't matter. And then right click and OK. So we've dropped that part into an assembly, and we're now going to use it as the basis for making some frames. So hit save on your assembly as well. And we'll just call this frame, I don't know what it is, you know, it could be a marquee, could be structure, could be whatever it is you're making, hit save. And then go to the design tab and then insert frame. And providing that your content center is working, Inventor should think for a couple of seconds and then flash up the insert frame box. If you don't see this, your content center is not set up, and then you need to maybe just dial back a bit and make sure everything's saved. Check my videos on how to set the content center up, and then do that. So we've got multiple standards here. You can put whatever frames you want down. I'm going to go for circular hollow section because the angles on this are so off and so all over the place. Trying to put sort of square or rectangular section on here, the angles are all over. So we're going to stick with circular hollow section. Oh, hello, cracked voice. And then for the size, and whatever it is you're doing, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to cancel that out. I'm going to double click into the part file. I'm just going to turn off the sketches because I don't want it putting frames on the sketch lines and the model edges at the same time. It'll put two frames on top of each other. So we're going to turn off those sketches, save that, and then bounce back over to the assembly. Right, let's repeat that. Insert frame, and we'll put the circular hollow section down 42 random size, but whatever, 42 by 2.5, material mild steel, and then window select everything, and then look at that, man, look at that. So I think the frames are a little bit too small, because I've increased the size to 6 meters. Let's drop that up to 60. That'll do. Click OK. In production, in a real production environment, I would be naming these a proper part number or some kind of unique reference, but I'm not interested at this point. This is just for demonstration purposes. But in reality, in the real world, you'd be naming these something unique and identifiable. Same with that there as well. Click OK, and then I'll just start dropping frames down, man. Look at that. It looks absolutely amazing. We've got frames now across every cross member on our structure, whatever that structure may be. And then if you want to make it see-through, this is where stuff starts to get even cooler. We can go into the skeleton model, and we're going to do a shell. So on your modify panel here, click shell. And this is going to be glass. Not the most ideal way of doing glass because, you know, in the real world, each one of these would be a separate pane of glass, but this is just for visual representation purposes. Let's just pretend it's like 3mm glazing and then remove the bottom face because that wouldn't be glassed on the bottom. Click OK, and then that hollows it out. So we've now got each one of these triangles is offset by 3mm. And yeah, there you go. Right, so it's not see-through. So for the material, we could change this to glass clear glazing. If you're happy enough with the texture that it's given us, happy days. Or you can use one of the Autodesk appearance colors If you want to change that, you can do. You can go to, it's got loads of them. There's absolutely tons of them. That's why I changed the appearance library at the very start of this video to the Autodesk appearance library, because there's much more colors to go with. But there's glass, there's clear, there's glazing, there's all kinds of different colors, whatever suits you. Well, that's not very, oh, that's glazed, not glazing. There's glazing there. And hit save again, shut that down. Mate, are you not proud of what you've just achieved? Look at that. Look at that. Right, let's start making it look even better. So go to the view tab, right, turn on all shadows, and what you'll find is that your ground shadow is like that. That's no good. That's non bueno. So what we want to do is just line it up. So you're looking at it sort of side on, and then click one of the faces of the cube. Right click on that face. Mine sort of jumped off the screen here, but go set current view as front. And then that should put your ground shadow on the ground. Change the visual style to realistic. Change the what's that called again? The environment. Yeah, environment style to grid light. There you go. There's that's a unique way of modeling. So that's the it doesn't even have a name. I don't even know what you call it. It's just something that I came up with ages and ages and ages ago when trying to finish a challenge for something, and it's stuck with us ever since. And yeah, you can do these kind of structures with it, and that's why I said if you wanted to go for an 8-sided polygon instead of a 6-sided polygon, you'd have much more work planes to create. That's when you start regretting your life choices. But I suppose the more sides to the polygon you've got, the more cross members you'll get, and you know it'll look more detailed. It'll look more, you know, impressive, I suppose, with more cross members on it. But yeah, mate, there you go. That's how you did that, and you just did that. Pat yourself on the back. If it didn't work, just follow it again. Start again, follow it again. It will work. It's guaranteed to work as long as you follow it exactly to the letter how I did it. And yeah, like I said, it's not manufacturable. You know, the glass is one piece. That's not true. There should be separate panes. I'm not going to get into that. The end treatments of the frames aren't true. You would need to go into the frame, you know, the frame tools and start trimming and maybe cutting them back to put in some kind of sort of holding piece in the middle to weld them all together, some kind of joint. But yeah, that's for you. That's not for me. Anyway, mate, there you go. That's how you do that. Hope you enjoyed it. That went on for, I could have probably done that a bit quicker, but, you know, I just sort of did it a bit slower than normal just so everyone can keep up. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do subscribe. I like doing these kinds of videos. I do quite a few. There's a few in the bank. If you want to go back through my old videos and check them out, by all means do that. And I'll see you in the next one, mate. Toodles.